Ramos, driver of the number 48 Hot Rod in the Oscar Hot Rod Series. You're watching ONTrack Weekly with Cam K. Harris.
What's going on, everybody? Cam K here. A little bit delayed tonight. Just some tech issues with the connection once again, but we are here on a Monday night, and nice to have you guys back in. We're going to talk some junior racers tonight, and we'll talk about some good-looking race cars. I want to thank Connor Ellis for being the intro driver tonight. I'm not sure if the stream is working well or not. I've had some connection issues on my end, so just let me know if things are not working, slow, or the stream is lagging. Not sure what we can do to really help, but we'll give it a shot and see if things work. But yeah, I want to thank Connor and for giving us the intro. And unfortunately, on my end right now, I have had nothing but glitching with the video. So for me, it looks a lot worse, I think, than it really is. But thank you guys. Jeff, how did Cairo work out for your back? Feeling better? We got some answers. Not the answers that I wanted, but basically it just... the clarity from the chiropractor after seeing some other x-rays is that basically I'm going to be living with back pain for the rest of my life. So, which sucks, but he said it can be managed, and it'll flare up, and it's just a matter of getting it back under control. And so that kind of sucks, but you know, we're gonna do what we can and make the best of it, and you know, I think a lot of it is contributed from my weight, my job. This is what I do. I sit all day long, and unfortunately it's resulted in some damage to my lower spine. So that like I said, it sucks, but we're not going to wallow in that. We're going to look towards trying to make it better and make it manageable, and then be ready to go back to the racetrack next year, which we're not skipping out on. Don't get twisted here. You have to drag me out of that place, out of a racetrack, even if I'm in a lot of pain. But hopefully, like I said, we'll be able to calm down the nerves and the muscle and everything around the issue right now, and then get back swimming, which I've started to try and alleviate and strengthen the core muscles and everything back up. So, but I appreciate you asking. That means a lot. Tonight's show we wanted to dedicate to the younger racers. And then some of the other things that I really am a big fan of, which is the schemes on the race cars. Now, unfortunately, with a bit of a delay, it's kind of set me back a little bit in terms of preparation. But we'll still give it a shot here, and we'll talk about some of the people that the racing community has deemed as some great stories, who impressed them this year in terms of the junior racers. We're talking ages 5 to 16. If they aged out a little bit by like turning 17, 18 years old, that's not a huge issue. it's just the younger racers, people that haven't been a part of the racing community very long and are just getting started in their careers. And I think there's some notable names right off the top. I think we can go and talk about names similar to Ollie Ferguson, OSS racer, 14 years old, got a big win, full-size stock car at Sauble Speedway, beating Corey McAllister. You can definitely say that's a big moment for him. Edwin Hyde, who not only got his first career win this year, but he got multiple wins and then was able to come back from what I thought was really a championship that was really already kind of decided, and made his way into winning the championship out in Grand Bend in the junior sprint division. Josh Davenport, double champion this season. I think guys and gals that were able to at Peterborough make it from the junior division into the pro division this year. Guys, we got Hudson Sellers and Gracelyn McInnes, Savannah Strawn, Avery Kirkpatrick, Brody Coates. Some of those kids that did that with wins to make it into those top divisions. You got Thomas Wunsch out at Full Throttle, is one of those names running the Oscar Hot Rod Series, but also running right with Matt Hopkins for the championship for the Hot Rods at Full Throttle. So not an easy place to do it. So, but it is it's exciting that we have such great young names, and as Al pointed out in the post, which we'll get to, it's not just about what they do on the racetrack, but also off the racetrack. So there's some racers that have done some really good charitable efforts, helping out their community. Morgan Moore, Maya Ford, Keaton Pipe, to name a few. And that's what you need. The Camrath boys, these guys, these kids don't have to be doing that type of stuff, but they know, and the family knows, and the team knows that is an important part of the racing community and giving back to not just the racers and not just the people within racing, but the community as a whole. And it's exciting to see that that's where some of these kids are thinking, and that's where they're going to do stuff and benefit a lot to motorsports. Spencer Riddell, good evening. A little late to the party, prepping for a motor swap in the new build. Exciting. Always love that. Exciting stuff. So when I put this post out yesterday, and this is kind of going to be the off-season type of deal, put posts out, get some replies from people, and see what they think. And there's some names on here that I really think people are going to see a lot of in the future. There's some really good racers and really good kids too, that we got to meet a couple of them, and we're going to talk through people's comments and whether they're a racer or not. It doesn't matter. People that provided the comments, I thank you. We've got 38 to go through, or at least a good chunk, and then we'll get into the schemes later on. That one really could be multiple episodes, the scheme one, though. I definitely think we're starting with the junior racers this week, and we'll head over to kind of bone stock racers, then mini stock racers, etc., and kind of go through the classes during the off season. We are going to go, as far as I know right now, ONTrack Weekly is on track to do we're going to do basically a show right up to the new year. I don't believe we're setting up for any breaks. So we're going to be here even during the Christmas holidays. We're going to be around, I don't expect there to be a ton of viewership, but we're going to go out there and talk about our Christmas lists for what we'd really like from the racing community, Santa Claus. And it would be, I think it would be a very interesting topic to see what people would be interested in having, and it's far-fetched ideas. I think that's the one concept about that idea, is to talk about kind of what things people would love to see. And, I definitely think that there's some good potential for those shows during the Christmas holidays. But let's get going because we've got a lot of comments to go through. We've got an abbreviated show, and then we'll get to some of the schemes as well. We want to show off some of those good looking rides. Talk about some of those that were on the track this year, and we got a lot of submissions for that as well. So I'm going to keep doing this kind of week in and week out, trying to get the community's conversation going and get what the community is talking about. Now, we know this not everybody, but we've got some comments from some pretty big names in motorsports and some pretty high up drivers and people within the community. So let's start talking about some of those. So I put it out there. I said, who is a junior driver across Ontario who impressed you this season? Ages 5 to 16. What did they do that was impressive? We're going to chat about some young racers tomorrow on the show. Well, you guys did not disappoint, and we'll go through the comments, each and every one. We got Derek Clark. Now, Derek, of course, he is a father to a young racer, and his son Ryan races in the junior sprint division out at Grand Bend and drives a beautiful number 85 Golf car. I think it's one of the best looking junior. Actually, it probably is the best looking junior sprint car out there, actually. And Derek says Colin Klumper at Grand Bend Speedway. He dominated the junior sprint class, won almost everything, even flipped one night in the first feature and ran the second feature. Seen a lot of good things about Colin, and that definitely is one of those things that you want to see from a young racer, that they don't give up and they get back out there. Savannah Finley, racer in the Bone Stock division, the Epic Bone Stock division out at Sauble Speedway, says Josh Davenport being able to dominate at Sauble and Sunset and get 2 championships in one season. I don't think we can disagree with that at all. Savannah is 100% on point when it comes to Josh Davenport. I'd like to see, the only issue I have with the junior sprints is that we only get to see them at one track. I would love to, if we could get the junior sprints at one of those bigger events like a Frosttoberfest. I know the junior late models go out there, but it would be kind of nice to see some of the Grand Bend cars kind of come out, because they had if I'm not mistaken, that they had some of those weekends where they were looking at almost 20 junior sprint cars. So it would be something interesting to kind of have the class kind of move and go to an event like maybe a Frosttoberfest, which is really the only one I could think of potentially that they would be able to go to. I don't really know where else they would kind of fit on the card, and they don't have to do a full size the entire track if we don't need it. But I think that would be the most doable. The legendary Mike Schmidt from London Recreational Racing. Now, he does have a little bias here because it is one of his drivers, but I can wholeheartedly agree that he says Rylan Camrath, the improvement from early season to late season was incredible. I cannot deny the fact that when Rylan got out there, I was very, very, very excited to see what he could do. Obviously, Andy Camrath he's Andy Camrath. He's one of Ontario's best racers of all time. And to see that he's got, his boy out there, running a junior late model for the first time, it was his first race was a little, it was rough, which I think we would expect. And, Rylan was considerably slow getting out there. But the one thing that was really entertaining was being right in the vicinity of Andy. Andy is so calm on the radio, but direct. And I think he helped Rylan a lot. I believe he hit the bumps really bad in turn 1 and 2. And I think it broke a piece on the car, and Rylan knew to bring it in. But then when I saw him, I want to say it was in August. I didn't even know it was the same kid, because he was up in third place and was battling for second place, was running the high side fearlessly. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that type of improvement with every racer, but to see it in such a short amount of time, he's got a podium already. He's won a heat race, multiple, I think, heat races now. Rylan is, if he's not near the front next year, I'd be very, very surprised, because what he showed in such a short amount of time is very similar to Josh Davenport, Cole Camrath. These guys got a knack to, when they get going, and then all of a sudden it's like a light switch, and they're just up front every week. It's very noticeable. I think you started to see it in some of the Peterborough racers as well. That once you kind of get the confidence, and they see that they can go faster and be even faster each and every week. I think he and Jackson Baker kind of came in as the unknowns as what they were going to do, and some of the other racers that were a part of the division all had their own spotlights this year, and the fact of the matter is, I think next year Ryland very well could compete for the championship, and I believe he's younger than most of the field was as well, so that field would look different next year, because Cole Camrath won't be in that field. Josh Davenport, we don't know yet if he's going to be back there. And then most notably, Keegan Moat, the previous champion in 2023, he is not coming back. He's aged out of the program. So it will have fresh blood. Ethan Mallon, I believe he's not back. I believe I saw Ronnie Mason's car was up for sale on Marketplace, so potentially he might not be back. So the entire field could look so different next year. So having a kid that like Rylan Camrath, I think he's going to go through. There's going to be a lot of change for him, but I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how he does. He had a great looking car last year. Shows a lot of promise as well, and I definitely think he's got some cousins that definitely know how to race as well, and a dad that knows how to race, and an uncle that knows how to race, and lots of people that he can turn to at LRR, with Amanda Balson, with Kelly Balson, with Sean Chenoweth. Paul Pepper is somebody that's always around the Camrath. So these guys all know how to race, and they know how to race clean. So they're somebody that's in good hands. So Rylan, Ronnie got a new car, so there you go. Jake Spencer Walt, and Jake is a guy that he's a kid that knows all of these kids. He's raced with them before. The talent is deep, and it's going to be very, very good next year. So I definitely think that Rylan is somebody you're going to have to watch out for. Again, I want to see these guys do a little bit more though. I want to see not just the home track. Go to Peterborough, go to Sauble. Definitely Sauble. Go to Full Throttle. Go around with the junior late models when you get opportunities to. I mean, I don't know what Andy's plans are full time. If he's going to run the Legend car for the full season or just some races. But if they've got the opportunity, I'd like to see. I would think you'd see Rylan at least do a couple races up at Sauble, since Carter's up there racing, and so is Cole. So we'll get back on our comments here, because we still got lots to go through. Ashley McMartin says she knows she's a little biased, of course, but Matthew McMartin just turned 16 this year. He had never driven manual, and he went out and tried each and every weekend. He talked to so many other drivers, asked so many questions, and listened to track staff to try and improve his skill. He didn't give up, and he held his temper, which is very, very important during some stressful incidents this year. I mean, I'm excited to see, again, these young guys that go out there, they get the opportunity. What are they going to do this year? What is he going to do? Biggest thing that Ashley is mentioning here is he's trying to improve. He's going out and he's seeking out help. He's looking for other racers to give their opinions. Carol Dawson mentions Hudson Sellers. This one I had no idea about, that it was his first year racing and he won his very first feature. Always went out and tried his best. Hudson was one of those kids that went from the junior division to the junior pro at Peterborough in no time flat, and was running right with Landon, his brother, within right really around the time he moved into the division. So again, those Sellers boys, they got a lot of talent. They're going to Bandoleros in 2025. So whether they'll do a couple more junior lates, I'm not sure. I don't know what the plans are there, but definitely Hudson showed off for sure. And Laurel Thomas mentions Jackson Baker, we talked about earlier. Just got faster every week. And Jackson had a really tough kind of start. He really did. It was a couple of flips that Jackson had, one before he even got out onto the racetrack. So definitely didn't need to see that. But he got out there and he kept going and kept trying. And Jackson's another one that, comes from a very well known racing family, and they've got the talent there, and definitely you can see it. Collins Bunch says Edwin Hyde of Grand Bend Speedway, rookie season in 2023, junior sprint champion 2024, and also raced at Route 1 on dirt a few times, also driving mini trucks for 2025. And that's what I really liked. What I saw from Edwin this year is he did a couple of videos as well. And I think Edwin's a pretty shy kid. I met him for the first time at Motorama, and he was very shy then. But you can see interviewing with Chris Soares and getting the opportunity to do a little social media videos, it helps kids kind of come out of their shell a little bit. And what I really liked seeing was the kids all coming over to each other and congratulating each other when they do well and when they get on the podium. It's really great. Nick says that Edwin's season is actually not over. He's getting ready to play in the dirt again. He just loves being at the track and learning. And we are obviously very proud of him. He's a SNS racer, and it helps us see some of these young kids and see how good that they do. And Tanner Holmes says Ronnie Mason, got to see him at the beginning and the end of the season, and it was night and day. The racecraft he showed at the end of the season was impressive. He did his homework for sure. And what's really cool about these comments is that, yes, some of them are coming from family members and some of them are from friends, but others are coming from racers, people that aren't the family or in the racing team. But Tanner said, hey, Ronnie Mason. I think Ronnie Mason definitely showcased a lot of talent, got himself a heat win. And as Jake Spencer-Walt mentioned, he's got a new car. So a very good potential to be up there and competing week in and week out with whoever is going to be back in that division. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, Rob Ferguson. He's posted here, sorry, we didn't mention Rob. We talked about Ollie, but he absolutely kicked butt in the OSS. First win by a lap and a half and 5 top threes in a car with an 8-inch tire and way over 400 horsepower. He will be 15 in December and is going places. That's exactly the truth. He also went, and I have to point this out, he finished not of his own making, unfortunately, but last at the biggest races for the OSS in terms of counts. Finished last in 18th place in both of them, and despite that, came from last place in the points to finish in 5th place. So a lot of positions he had to make up throughout the year, and if those DNFs weren't there, he would have been contending for that championship with Corey McAllister and Connor James easily. Paul Pepper says Ryland Camrath, it ain't even close. There's a lot of young racers out there. I definitely have talked about Ryland Camrath, and I definitely think, like I said, that he's got a lot in the tank for his future. Greg Duncan says Cooper Donaldson from Full Throttle Motor Speedway. The young man always shows he has a great attitude and a lot of passion for the sport. He has shown a lot of improvement from the first time I met him, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the following years. Robbie Sykes from the Ontario Legend Cars Series says racing against Keaton Pipe, the racecraft he learned over the summer was impressive. Jake Spencer-Walt switching up disciplines, which he did mid-season. Disciplines of driving styles after claiming a mini stock feature win. Well, it was an amazing big win for him. I was there for that. It was phenomenal. Fantastic finish. And originally it was just supposed to be a podium, and it turned into a win after the winner got disqualified. Cole Camrath in the Legend at Flamborough, rolling the top in the B to make the A. Yes, Cole was able to do that, and he beat people that have been in those cars a lot longer than he has. So definitely. Shannon O'Brien Weiss, his rider White, keeps up with the big boys in a very competitive field, and that's definitely true. Ryder had a lot of mechanical problems this year. Had some issues with the car, a couple accidents as well, but he had a couple of really strong finishes as well. Most notably, I believe he was fourth in the Alan Lincoln this year, which is a race that is all about consistency in 3 races. So Ryder is one of those guys. Do not let his stature fool you. He is extremely talented and has shown once week after week after week in the mini stock division that he is getting better and better. And again, a couple years in the division, they tend to have a breakout season. So we'll see how he does in 2025. Nick Clark says Josh Clark in his bone stock at Full Throttle Motor Speedway. Now this is crazy. He's just 11 years old. He's the youngest full-time competitor in the division. He'd say he did amazing, 20 to 25 cars every week, and consistently would find himself either in the top 10 or just outside of it. He showed better car control than a lot of older competitors and proved that he wasn't intimidated by more experienced racers. I may be biased, but that's okay. And I mean, I expected that we would get some of the family members and stuff to mention about this, but one of the things that I was really impressed about in this conversation is the fact that some of these kids are as young as they are. No idea Josh Clark was only 11. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see like Lucas Chapman do the same. We've seen Lucas at 10 years old get out there and race with the rest of the bone stock field. I think he did that again this year at Sauble. So no, Jay Wild's Kenny McNichol is the same height as the junior driver. Does they count? No, sorry. No, he does not. But Nick wasn't done. Nick had a couple others that he posted about. And the one that we mentioned earlier, Thomas Wunsch, has also impressed the hell out of me. The kid has jumped from a mini stock to a hot rod and ran competitively instantly. He won features at Full Throttle and showed he was a contender in the Oscar Hot Rod Series this past summer. From the time the kid has sat in a car, he has shown he is willing to improve every week. 100% agree with that. Thomas, I got to meet him at Autumn Colors. Does not come across as his age. I'm actually blown away with some of these kids and how mature they act and how mature they are. And, Thomas is a great racer. Very, very promising future for him. Nick continued with, now that just above the age you posted, Brian Wilson Jr. has done awesome as well after he's proved to be competitive in Mini Stock Weekly the last few years. This time it didn't take him long to prove he can win in a hot rod as well. He's done an amazing job of keeping his nose clean, but isn't pushed around easily either. We know those hot rods, there tends to be a lot of pushing and shoving, and so having a racer like that, Brian Wilson Jr. has shown that he can race, and I'm curious to see if he's going to do a full-time effort. Hopefully he does. I think he's somebody that could very well be like a Thomas Wunsch and get out there and definitely be close to getting their first career victory in Oscar. Definitely a very strong field and a tough field with a lot of veterans, and talk about a lot of knowledge to soak up. And Nick Clark is a racer who's been around Ontario. He's seen a lot of talents, and these are obviously some nominations that he has mentioned that are very, very impressive. Donovan Price, another racer that knows a heck of a lot, would say. He says Ava Bounty With limited seat time in her Bandolero and limited track time, she was fast and has lots of potential to come. She was actually on board to potentially take the win at Autumn Colors before a mechanical problem took her car out. Savannah Strawn impressed me lots as well. Yes, Savannah was able to, in her first year in the Junior Late Models, make it to the Pro Division in, I believe it was before the halfway point of the season. Definitely Savannah is, and she will continue to be extremely strong. She's got a very, very, again, very good racing family with the Straughns. Eddie Cole says Thomas Wunsch is a heck of a wheelman alongside Brian Wilson Jr. Both are top competitors for Full Throttle Motor Speedway. I definitely agree with that. I think both those guys, they got to beat a tough guy in Matt Hopkins, but there's a good guy to learn from, and definitely I think this next racer, Austin Hopkins, impressed me with the few times he had the car out. He pushed it to the fullest, never spun, got very loose but corrected it. He also can get out of a bone stock very fast. His first race he started to pass cars before the car lit on fire, but he impressed me very much. Again, Austin Hopkins has got the championship pedigree in the blood and getting a place, getting to learn again. And we talked about before, Full Throttle is not a place that is the easiest to learn for the strongest of drivers, to the best of drivers. And the fact that he was able to do that, again, showcasing that talent that they have in that family. Really, the Hopkins last year with the championship picked up where he left off, really, and Austin's now going to get the opportunity. Picked up a really good car from CGC Racing. This was a top car for them at Sauble last year. It's a former Alex Stewart car, and that will be a very, very good piece at Full Throttle this year. So we'll see what Austin Hopkins can do. He'll be running out there with Josh Clark, I imagine. Now, don't know exactly what Josh is going to do. I think he'd be back out there once again in the bone stocks. Continuing on, Pops Campbell says, I would say the Camerath boys, watching Cole move into the Legends and Carter progressing in the Junior Late Model at Sauble Speedway. Also, a huge shout out to Luke Cuthbertson for jumping into a Bandolero for Cuthbertson Racing at Peterborough. He is 7 and went from dirt, go-karts to asphalt, and not to mention, he's also got a podium finish already at 7 years old in the Bandoleros. Lindsay Lamont says, Keegan Lamont, 9-horsepower sprint car driver at Grand Bend, went through a lot of ups and downs, Ron Rookie of the Year, and never gave up, even with a broken foot. And he got out there, if I'm not mistaken, and raced still with a broken foot. So talks about it. We talked to Hannah, and Hannah Lamont, his sister, said that he went out there, he hurt himself, and they had broke his foot. And what did he talk about? When I kind of get back behind the wheel of the car. Love it. Sean Chenoweth says Aiden Sugden and Ryle and Camworth will both be a force in anything they choose to race. It's hard to disagree with that statement right there, especially from a guy with as big of a resume as Sean Chenoweth. Brandon Burnett says, I think he's just outside the age, but Ben McPherson showed great improvement and skill. He's come a long way, and he's a great guy in the pits. We had a wild battle one night last year, bumping and banging and loving every minute. Looking forward to seeing him in a hot rod. Yes, Ben McPherson definitely had a good season last year. He's wasn't the flashiest of seasons, but that's also a good thing. He wasn't getting in a bunch of wrecks. He wasn't spinning, just trying to go out there, run laps. And one thing that I've said a lot about Ben is when it comes to sponsor and partnership commitments, he has done a phenomenal job at promoting his partners at the racetrack. He's going around with handing out samples. I believe I still have some here, actually. Now, one of the coolest things about this for a young racer to have is not a lot of racers can say that they have their own sriracha garlic dipping sauce. But Ben McPherson does with his number 46, his little signature on it and everything. It's a Muskoka brand. And that's one of the coolest things that a young racer could have. And he was out there handing out samples and really doing what he can to represent each and every brand. They did a really good charity event last year, and he's got a lot of work to be in that hot rod division. It's going to be a very tough division next year, but definitely look out for Ben McPherson. So thank you, Brandon, for that comment. Cooper Metcalf says Ollie Ferguson, without a doubt. Amanda Allison says my daughter Shelby, she's overcome a lot this year. We got a couple more comments, and then we'll switch it up to some paint schemes. Brady Cox says Josh Clark was the one that impressed me. No matter if it was practice, track drawing, or racing, he was always one of the first ones to strap in and go on the track. He was always pushing to get better and showed lots of speed near the end of the year. He will be one to watch for years to come. Jessica Chapman says Lucas Chapman ran his fastest lap at Grand Bend this season and battled with Ryan McNichol week after week and never missed a beat. He continually got faster every week, even off the track. He never stopped working in the garage and continuously helped his competitors with anything they ever needed. Lucas is definitely one of the biggest representations of racing brands that he knows what he's doing. He's out there with NTN bearings, and he does a lot of the work on his car himself, even despite how young of age he is. Jaslyn Stevenson says, well, I have to say my son Chase Stevenson in the 77 Junior Late model has gone through a lot the last few years, and this year pulled off a great win at Sunset Speedway and came on top at the ACC. We are so extremely proud of him. This was his best moments of the year in 2024. As well, we are proud of the type of race car driver he has become. If he did anything wrong to another driver on the track, he has owned it. As well, when another Junior Late model driver was upset, he cared and was there to listen and to help in any way he could. I love his positive and thoughtful. I love that he's become a thoughtful and positive driver. I was there for Jaslyn, that comment that Jaslyn's talking about there. And Jaslyn is 100% correct. Chase did have some really tough moments this year with DQs, mechanical problems, spins. But I was there for that win, and I will never forget that. His first Junior Late model win, he started at the back because he had trouble in his heat race. He got spun. He had mechanical problems, I think, in both of his heat races. So he started at the back and worked his way through the field, got up to second place. His good buddy Keegan Moat was leading. They had contact on the back straightaway, and Keegan spun. They had to do a restart. He had Lila Sigma and Landon Sellers right behind him, and he held them off and got his win. And then the ACC did pretty much the same thing, kind of came from nowhere, come up through the field and got the big win there as well. And great story for a young kid like that. Brandon Feeney says, Savannah Strawn, starting her racing career by winning her first heat and almost winning the second heat as well, as a strong rookie year for the young lady, 100%. And Savannah definitely has a lot more in the tank. I think Kevin, I think Trevelin's got a little bit of the wrong idea here. Your rookie teammates, Laura and Nathaniel. We're talking about junior racers. Those guys aren't junior racers. They're not 5 to 16, but I appreciate you shouting them out, Kevin. It is one of those things that it brings me a lot of excitement to see the young racers that are really showcasing just so much talent and so much week in and week out. And what we want to be able to do is to create an environment where there's a lot of support, not just from the parents and people on the team, but the fellow competitors, the other racers, the track officials, and media. From us, it's a big thing to be able to see some of these kids go out there, and they don't get the opportunity, I think, that people give them. to be interviewed. And we've experienced that there's a lot of shy kids, sure, but there's a lot of kids that aren't shy. There's a lot of kids that are great talkers, that interview very well. And we want to help give those that aren't as comfortable an opportunity to learn and understand what it's like, because a lot of kids, they do stuff on their phones. They take videos on their phones. It's kind of the same thing, except it's a little less stressful. When you're in an interview, you kind of think you have to come up with an idea. You have to think of your answer, and you're on the spot. And we've seen the best of drivers that don't know what to say. And actually, if you ask even Kevin Trevlin, Trevlin's been one of those guys that he said, I don't really like, he doesn't really like interviews. Well, when he starts talking, and you start to get comfortable, then it's a piece of cake, right? It just is. It's the opportunities that these young racers need, and so I'm looking forward to seeing a couple more of them out there. The Peterboroughs, they got a lot of great racers out there, and get an opportunity to interview a ton of them. Lila Sikma was able to interview, and she's a good kid. Chase Stevenson, got to talk with him a little bit. He's not the most comfortable talking on a mic, but he's got some good support there, and I definitely appreciate seeing a lot of the talent coming up, and I think that's what everybody needs to look forward to. Make it as comfortable as it can be for the future generations in the racing scene. This is what we need. And let's look at some cars that were suggested. Now, I put this other post up asking about the best looking race cars that they had and in people's opinions, and there was a couple of common occurrences, but let's take a look at some of the photos that people posted. So Josh Watson, this was his choice. Yeah, I can't really disagree with this one. The Tire Depot number 2 for champion in the Oscar Hot Rods, Tyler Hahn, and the 18 Jay Cutting. Jay Cutting's car, I don't really see it that often with the hood on it, but yeah, easily one of the best looking cars. I had both of those in my picks as well. Another one from Mike Robinson Jr. was Coleridge Finnemore's number 80. This is an imagewraps.ca wrap in the Vesticon number 80. This one was beautiful too. Nice photo by Follow Me Photography out at Peterborough. Sarah Janane says, yeah, 18 of Jay Cutting. And when you look at that, I mean, the car is beautiful, and so is the color on this one. Definitely have to agree. Donovan Price says the Volt Raceway Ava Bounty Machine for the Bandoleros. Yeah, I can't really disagree on this one too. This is a very nice looking ride. Next up, Samantha Shaw suggests Blair Wickett's number 97. This one was very well liked this year in the APC series. The Polar Blair Motorsports Rymart Ford Mustang. Yeah, can't disagree with that one. Alex Stewart says Tegan Stanley's number 23. And this one is great because it has a name, Rhonda the Honda. And it's one of the ones that I really like looking at. I'm a big sucker for when guys use the colored wheels or the rimmed wheels that, they somewhat match their car. Very similar to what like Ollie Ferguson does with his car, what Kevin Trevlin does with his car in OSS, where they have kind of the matching color. Always makes it pop a little more. I'm more of a chrome guy. I love my chrome wheels like you see here with Tyler Hahn's number 2. We've got Mike Wallace who posts, yes, the 28 Douglas Windows and Doors Bingo Country. super stock for Ryan Dyson. And I mean, he always has good looking cars. This one was definitely a great one unveiled at Motorama. Nathaniel Greenaway teasing in the comments. Tegan Stanley says the 35. This is the 35 truck back here of Chad Strawn. Although, I believe we saw the 35 is not going to be with Chad Strawn anymore. I believe there was a switch from a truck to a super stock. I mean, you can't tell me that 23 car does not look great with those wheels, man. Johnny McIntyre, an old but a fast car. Again, what I really like about this, and I'm very picky, and Nathaniel and Kevin know, like, I'm all about basic. And why I like this, you got your beautiful wheels in there. Clean. Very clean. A couple of little graphic, but you can read the number and you can read the partners. Very important to do that with your race cars. Your partners should be visible. Your numbers should be visible. Obviously, I'm biased when it comes to this one because this idea here about making the Avengers or calling it the Avengers, I definitely believe was something influenced by myself. I love the red Trevco color. And obviously we had a hand in the updated logo for Trevco as well. But again, what is it nice? What's nice about it? Clean. Not a lot of crazy stuff inside. Open. So you can read exactly what it is. Well, it's a little hard on this angle here, but great photo from Danielle McPherson. Next up, Rory Markle with one of the best mini stock paint schemes, Mike Thompson's number 16. This is a throwback, and it was a thing of beauty all season long. It even looks as good as it did at Motorama still. I don't know how much damage was done to it all season, but it still has a pretty good look to it. Rob Ferguson mentions Ollie's car for this year. Now, one of the things that's hard to see in some photos is you can't really tell, but if you look really close on the wrap, it actually sparkles. It's all sparkle wrap on it. So when the light hits it really well, it shines. They did the reflective 55 on it. My only downside is the, you know, it probably this should have been on white. The hardware group. The only reason is it's hard to see it against the purple there. But easily, first off, I'm a huge silver guy, so take this silver any day. And the one thing that they did, and they did this so much, is he had different sets of colored wheels. So he had copper, I believe they had the green as well, and then they had the purple as well. But again, putting the partners where you can read them, right? For the most part, spread out, clean. Now, it got a little marked up. A couple of donuts on there. One of those was probably from his big win. Yes, all I can say is yes for this one. Now, beautiful if you don't have partners. So I don't mind something like this as long as you don't have contrast in terms of the logo being drowned out by the graphic. So what did he do? They put the logos on the plain color here. This is Kyle Neumeister's 92, now being operated by the McPherson Motorsports as the 46 bone stock. But see, I believe there's a partner right there, and you can't really read it. And that's one of the downsides when it comes to doing some of these cars with really strong graphics, is that you're not able to get the partner out. And you see a lot of the guys that are very experienced, A lot of them have that same kind of opinion. Now, I'm going to say, again, you've got the Jay Cutting. That's the third nomination. Josh Davenport says Gord Shepard's. Number 10, late model. But I think this might be my candidate for the best of all. Sean Chenoweth's Stewart's Equipment London Recreational Racing Superstock. I'm a sucker for orange, and I think orange, black, and white are some of the... Now, I've done my own custom paint schemes, and they're the easiest, I think, to work with because there's so many things that go well with them. This was easily my favorite looking car, I think, across the board. Very, very evident that they put a lot of good effort in this. I think this is a Pro Wraps. I believe this is a Pro Wraps car that was done. It was done by them. Wow, is all I can say. Let's see if we can get to the end here. We got Josh Davenport's. Love that one. Again, that's another shiny car in the sun. Nathaniel Greenway, of course, I'm a little bit favorite to this one. This is one I helped design. Yes, Junior Farley's car. Absolutely, Jeff. We're just going to go through a little bit quicker because we were running out of time here. Cole Quinton's late model. We got Brad Robinson's OSS ride. Again, a little biased because I helped design that one too. You got the 88 here. I'm not sure whose car this one is. It's Mike Homewood. Got another Jay Cutting. We've got Kyle Steckley's late model, Tyler McMurder, Mike Robinson Jr. with Michael Robinson's 95, Mike Schmidt with the 89 of Chenoweth. Chris Pendlebury says the number 84 for J.R. Fitzpatrick. Connor Maltese says Paul Maltese. Oh, Dan Caverning. Right. Mikey Homewood, yeah, easily. This is one of the best looking Outlaw midgets. I love the 14 hot rod for Brian Wilson Sr. and Jr. That was a beauty. Clayton Reed's, absolutely Clayton Reed's Brendan Edgar. I can't remember which Finley this is that drove this one. I don't think it's Austin Finley. I could be wrong. Yep, Phil Givens. Got the 7 SKLD car, Connor Maltese, and Cody Wilds. Now, who did I pick? Well, very similar to a lot of people's. I got Paul Peppers, 29. Tyler Hahn's 2. I love the Raptor Filters car for Corey McAllister. Yes, Jay Cutting is on mine. Morgan Moore's car. Cole Camrath's car. Cole Burrows' car. I love this for the Bone Stocks, Jason King's 81. How can you go wrong with the Tide Ride of Steve Oakes? Yes, Sean Chenoweth. Chris Allard's 76. Like I said, the only thing, again, is a little bit of the conflict there. If I would have cut the background just a little bit right there. But otherwise, still beautiful. I love basic, and there's nothing wrong with just a basic 85. This was Cam Thompson's car out at ACC. I will always pick a Terry Labonte car over anything else. Definitely the Terry Labonte throwbacks. Alex Stewart's from a couple years ago, still one of my favorites. Phil Givens, Kelly Bolson, and Paul Maltese's cars. Andrea Lusk's. Now it's again all through the design. It's a little heavy on design for me, but still one of the better looking mini stocks out there. Brad Robinson, And I loved Ryland Camraths. That's another imagewraps.ca. Got Beatty's Distilleries on Jeff Blackburn's number 7 Outlaw or Can-Am Midget. Ollie Ferguson. And that is some of my favorites. I'm one of those guys that I have a lot of favorites. If you got a car on the racetrack, I tend to like it. There's a couple others like Jacob Booth's Dice car was out there. Obviously, Junior Farley's was mentioned. There's so many to choose from, and that's what makes it fun. I gotta go with even the tie-dye ride of the 27 at Sunset as well. So, anyways, everybody, it's been a fun show. We ran out of time, unfortunately, though. So we'll be back next week. Make sure you stay tuned to my Facebook. I'll be putting out more questions out there, trying to get more opinions. We continue to build this stuff, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. Make sure you guys give us a thumbs up here at GeForce TV. Come on back tomorrow for Race Rivals Race Chat with Adam Rosklin, Jeffrey, and we'll have some fun. Definitely appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mikey, Steve, Kevin, everybody that tuned in tonight. Have yourselves a great week, everybody. Catch you all next week here on ONTrack Weekly.